We went hunting for tigers.
Play the theme music. Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. I'm Alun and I'm here with the ever unfortunate Adam.
I'm feeling down in the dumps, mate.
Are you?
Yeah, today we're going to talk about the story of us going hunting for tigers.
Hunting for tigers. Because last episode we were in Dubai. It was a bit of a special episode. For this episode, though, we're going to have to rewind the clock a little bit. I know we're here dressed in our shalwar kameez, the official outfits of the Pakistani people, but because we are in Pakistan right now.
We are. You look bloody good.
Thank you so much.
You suit it. You said, do you feel comfortable?
I feel lovely, yeah, exactly. The people watching us on YouTube or on Spotify can see us here in our traditional garb. But if you're just listening, you're going to have to imagine us here, dressed in sort of regalia. It's quite beautiful to behold. But I don't want to get carried away too much with that, Adam.
No.
And do you know why? It's because we're going to have to cast our mind's eye back a couple of weeks for this episode. Because we didn't just conglomerate in Calcutta and immediately get on a plane and get stuck in Dubai.
No.
We spent a little time together.
We did. And I have to hold my hands up. I didn't know that this Sundarban huge sort of mangrove system even existed until you suggested it. And you said, and there might be tigers there that we can see. I thought I should really do more research.
You said to me, what is there to do in Calcutta? And I said, there's not only the hugest mangrove system on the whole planet Earth, just a little bit east of here.
Yeah.
Let's go and see it before we head towards Pakistan. You said, I'd love to go and see the mangroves. And I said, Adam, it's not only mangroves in the Sundarbans section of the world. There's also the elusive, very rare, very difficult to spot Royal Bengal Tiger.
And if that's not a draw, I don't know what is. I'll tell you what else is. We did mention in the last episode we were thinking of going to Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty close to Bangladesh.
Well, this is as close as we could have possibly gotten towards Bangladesh without being involved in what can only be described as a crisis.
Yeah, because the mangrove system actually straddles both countries.
It does.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy that gave us the guided tour on the boat that we will share with you in a minute said that about 70% of the system is in Bangladesh.
Yeah, it is easier. One of the things I've noticed about mangroves is they pay very little dividends to the whole passport visa situation. They straddle amongst borders without so much as a boo at a ticket office or a border control point or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I have been trying to see tigers in the wild for pretty much a year now.
It's become a running theme.
I went to Chitwan in Nepal.
Yeah. Well, that's just well known for spotting tigers, right?
It's known for its rhinos, but there's a small chance. They say every now and again we see a tiger. Every now and again we go out hunting for rhinos and you see that is not a fibrous protrusion coming from the nose of the creature we behold. No, it's an orange and black striped feline, the tiger. Chitwan, I didn't see no tigers.
Right.
Then I thought, I'm not willing to go through the emotional turmoil of that again. I'm going to go to Ranthambore in India to see a tiger.
Yeah.
It would have been a whole episode of Tripology devoted to it.
Oh, no.
But for the fact, an complete absence of tigers also at Ranthambore, a place with the highest tiger population density in the world.
Yeah, you were told actually that there was a pretty decent chance, or definitely decent enough for you to go there and make the journey out. So
what happened in Ranthambore was, when I booked it, they said 80%. On the day of the
80% of seeing a tiger?
Yeah.
80%?
And then on the
not in a cage, by the way. 80% of seeing a tiger, not in a cage.
In the wild.
Yeah.
In the national park.
Yeah. That's incredibly high.
On the day of the safari, 40%. By the afternoon, 10%. The statistical probability of me seeing a tiger that day plummeted as the day went on.
But hang on, in the afternoon, when did you go out? What point in the day?
Early morning.
Yeah, so by the afternoon, they've got some fucking cheek, haven't they? Going, oh, you already haven't seen a tiger for the first 60% of the day.
There might be one on the way back to your hotel.
Yeah.
There's always a chance in Ranthambore.
We're fresh out of ideas. So your track record wasn't great.
No.
But we decided to go to this area to see the tigers. Maybe I should have known that you weren't a great omen when it comes to spotting said wildlife.
It was a difficult one because I considered you very much the lucky rabbit's foot of animal encounters. So I was very hopeful having you with me. I'd saved Sundarban for when you came to meet me in Calcutta.
Right, yeah. That's so funny. It's a good jumping off point, actually, Calcutta. We do like Calcutta as a city, don't we? We think it's quite cool.
Nice, yeah.
Highly recommend. Loads of good food. But then it was almost like a last minute decision, wasn't it? Trying to get this trip together to go.
My visa for India was expiring. So I said to you, Adam, I know we're not fans of tours and stuff like that, but I actually think the only way we can get to the mangrove is using a tour, because otherwise it's going to be too complicated. I've got to leave the country by Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we need to just go. So we looked into just getting a one-way tour, day trip, easy, back at the hotel by the night time.
Yeah, there we were, sat in a cafe. How many different tour companies do you think you called in that morning?
Nearly. I mean, it was definitely double digits.
Yeah, I think it was about 11 or 12 from memory.
Easily, yeah. I was calling them, I was emailing them, I was using WhatsApp, I was messaging them.
Yeah, and just for anyone listening, we found out that there is definitely a different price for foreigners than there is for locals.
I mean, some companies...
By different, I mean.
...quoted me no more than 6 times the fee on accounts of I was foreign.
Yeah. So.
I saw the price, and I got wise to it after a while. So I would contact them and say hey, seen your website, looks great. Can I book 2 people on a tour tomorrow for the price quoted on your website, 2,000 rupees? And they were like, sir... You're foreign? ? Yeah, I'm foreign. Okay, 15,000 for you.
Yeah,
15,000.
Yeah, so that's obviously an enormous increase, which we found it a little bit difficult to maybe believe. We sort of like to haggle and get a decent price and do what's fair, I suppose. We didn't necessarily understand all the intricacies of why it would be slightly more expensive. We've paid more money because we're foreigners. We all have, right? For certain things around the world.
It's just a tax you have to pay sometimes.
But I don't think I've seen a price difference as high as that in terms of a percentage.
Some would say it was egregious.
But we did our digging. We had our coffee. We didn't get anywhere, really.
No.
So we went back to the hostel where we were staying, and lo and behold, there was a man there who just happened to run tours to Sundarban, and he could sort us out a trip.
Yeah, well, the guy behind the desk sort of said, no way, you want to go to Sundarbans? No problem, let me contact. We'll call him A.
A. Right.
He said, I'm going to call A.
Yeah.
A knows about Sundarbans. He can sort it out. He's going to be here in 10 minutes.
It's bread and butter,
and
if you will.
We heard the splutter of a sort of motorcycle outside the hostel. A's arrived. Now, I took an instant disliking to A as he...
as he twirled his moustache.
A long, sort of greasy handlebar moustache that looked less fueled by testosterone than by just sheer willpower. And he kind of explained to us the tour, but there was a lot of fruity sort of language. He was like, oh, the government tours, they're ever so impossible to have foreigners on them on accounts of the fact that we take you on a boat with an armed gunman and we take you through the sections the government tours won't allow you to go. And if a tiger should attack, we'll simply fell the tiger in front of you, but you will have had a wonderful view as it jumps upon you.
Front row seats.
This was the kind of way that A was talking.
Yeah, he was kind of like poo-pooing other tours or saying the reason why it's that price is because of this, but I can do you this deal, and if you want to go into, were you calling it the core zone?
Yes.
You seem to know far more about
there's
that.
Core zones in wildlife parks and stuff.
Right.
There's core zones where the animals are and buffer zones where the animals can go, but they're less likely to go, so it's safer for humans to be there.
Gotcha. So... long story short, all of the tours would go to sort of the buffer zone where you're less likely to see there's a certain price, but we could pay him a little cheeky backhander, I imagine, and he would be able to get us into this stream, he was saying, that goes sort of through the edge of the core zone, and there was a high chance of us seeing tigers.
What was your initial perspective on A as he was talking?
Because of recent experiences, I think I had my guard up, but I thought he seemed... like he knew what he was talking about, because for me, when it comes to building trust, I like that kind of very level-headed, dry delivery, and I didn't think he was that hungry for our money.
Yeah, you described him as a good salesman.
Yeah, because I've used those same techniques when I'm selling things. So it's like, I want you to have this. If you don't want to have it, that's fine.
I once
Do your
worked
own
with a
thing.
man who sold pianos,
Right.
a piano seller.
Mm-hmm.
And his technique was he would never leave room for the customer to think,
Really?
always be talking.
Wow.
And I felt that was A's technique a little bit.
Okay.
I couldn't so much as look at a map of the call zones without him starting again to explain the nature of the tour he was offering. I found it a little bit sleaze.
But yeah, I think that was also his appearance, though. He looked
The
a bit,
mustache.
he did look like a sleazeball.
Let me tell you about the call zones as he twiddles the mustache. Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, we were on a time push, so we
were.
decided to go on the tour anyway.
Yeah, we went off. We had a little chat in the room, and then came back and said, "All right, we'll give you the money," which was reasonable, to be fair. Nowhere near the 15,000 that we'd been seeing online or quoted over the phone. And he knew that we were foreigners for sure.
He did, yeah. He could see on accounts of the fact that we look like us.
Yeah, so we actually went on the tour that day, didn't we? Do you
That's
remember?
true.
Yeah, that is true. You just
Yeah.
remembered.
Yeah.
So we thought that we had maybe got a good deal because we said, well, hang on, can we go now? He said, yeah, if you're quick, you can maybe get an afternoon out on the water today because it's going to take a couple of hours to get there. If we leave like 2:30, 3:30 or something, get there, get on a boat, do a little sunset tour through the mangroves, and then tomorrow, that's when you wake up early, and then you'll go into the mangrove area where you might see the tigers. So we thought we were getting almost like double bubble.
Yeah, we just pulled the trigger, and before you know it, we were there on a train with A, headed towards Sundarbans.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a plot twist, wasn't it? Because maybe it was so cheap. We had been told that we were going to be getting private vehicles all the way from Calcutta to Sundarban. Whereas for his price, he just basically got a local train with us.
He escorted us on that train, but that was entirely unnecessary from my perspective because we could have just got the train.
We definitely could have.
It was fine.
He paid for the train out of our money.
He
at least.
said, have you guys taken a local Indian train? But he tried to sell it as part of the tour, as if it was almost up there with the tiger. He was like, mangroves, tigers, local Indian train. I was like, I've been there for 6 months. I've taken many trains. He was like, you've not.
He actually said, if you want luxury, I'll give you luxury. But that isn't why you've come to India.
Yeah, he did say that.
He said that.
Yeah.
So we got there, bit of a rigmarole. We did eventually get to the hotel where we were expecting to be whisked away on our boat on a sunset tour.
We thought drop off the bags and then go on the sunset tour. And just prior to dropping us off, A said, you guys, you're stressed out. I can see you're stressed out. Just surrender to the system. He said, the whole tour that I've put in place for you guys is a series of chains. I'm the chain. I'm the top link. I said, what link are we, A? And he said, you guys are at the bottom. And there's a series of things will have to happen in order for the chain to run smoothly. And at this point, it's important for you, the bottom links, to surrender. Don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah. He said, don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be taken care of.
Almost immediately upon being dropped to the hotel, the chain snapped into a million pieces as we realized there was no sunset ride on the river. It was just, the words we used, just relax for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Dinner will be served in a bit.
It's dinner at 9. So we got straight on the blower.
You were good. You were proactive. You were like, hold on a minute. Eh?
Yeah.
We've paid for something here. It's a
Yeah.
sunset tour.
So, yeah, through sort of hostel staff and a few locals, roped them into taking us out on the water for probably 45 minutes. Well, it was nice. It was pretty, wasn't it?
It was a mangrove place at sunset.
It was worth doing, at least.
I think it was also like pittance. It was like a few pence for that kind of boat hire. It was a last minute thing. You just flagged down a longboat.
Yeah. Do you think that in hindsight we maybe should have, the alarm bells should have been ringing then?
They were ringing then, but I still had the words also ringing. Surrender to the process. There was multiple ringings going on.
Yeah. So we kind of felt a little bit shortchanged, I suppose, at that point. Went back. The place we were staying was quite nice.
It was all fine. I was just a little bit perturbed. We were both a bit perturbed, weren't we? But it was with a heavy heart that we went to sleep with the promise of waking up early the next morning to head out on the water and potentially see a tiger. And it's that feeling of sort of tiredness, tiger anticipation that I want you and the audience to have as we drift off into a brief meditation break. like a tiger stalking its prey, allow your conscious mind to return into your brain, just like it did with us in the hotel as we awoke from slumber to the sound of a rapping upon the door. It was our hotel owner. He was bringing us tea.
He was.
Nice.
15 minutes early as well.
Yeah.
7 a.m. wake up call with some tea at 6:45. You drank my tea. Do you remember that?
Well, right. So I've not got a bone to pick because I did drink your tea. But what happened was he brought the chai tea.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I'm going to drink mine later and go to sleep for 15 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
And I poured the tea back into the thermos.
Yeah.
And then placed it back on the tray and went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my final memory before going back to sleep was you sat upright in bed with the cup and the thermos.
Yeah. You might have even seen me take a sip, which I did do.
Yeah. So I just blissfully went back to sleep. You, just a vision in my periphery, taking a lovely sip of chai. I thought, okay, that's great. 15 minutes later, I wake up and Adam's having a snooze. And I think, that's great. Adam had his tea and he's snoozing. So I fill up my thermos. I'm sort of scrolling Tripology, emails. You guys are doing such great things for the travel industry. Thank you so much for drinking my tea. It's all lovely. Pour myself another cup. I think this is great. This thermos holds 2 cups of chai.
Mm.
Then a stir to my left, you wake up and inform me that you also poured your chai back into the thermos.
I did, yeah. So I didn't have any chai, but that was all right. I mean, you said that there was...
No one's fault.
No, it's an easy mistake to
One
make.
of those things.
One might have said that if you were pouring a quantity of liquid out that would have filled the thermos and it ended up being in 2 cups, one of those cups might have been for me.
But in my head, I so knew that you'd already had your chai.
Yeah.
And the thermos, who puts 2 cups of chai in a thermos?
Yeah, it was a little...
A thermos is a 4-cup combo.
Yeah, no. You're right.
Never mind.
It was fine.
Anyway, that was a difficult start to the day because I felt like we were still in good spirits, but because I have guilt now because I've taken a chai, one of my priorities was caffeinating you. so I had to juggle that and wrestle that.
That's so funny.
If someone had said to me like, Alun, there's a tiger down this path now, go to it quickly, you'll be able to see it, but there is a coffee shop here, I would have had to have gone to the coffee first to sort it out.
Buy at the coffee shop to see the tiger. Bigger fish to fry.
As if that was an option they would provide.
But it's about to go wrong again, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah.
Because we were told by the aforementioned A, that we would have a private boat and that we would be going through the core zone. So when we were shepherded onto what I would argue was quite a large vessel, certainly not a private boat because there were probably 50 other people on it, we thought, do we say something or do we surrender? We're right at the bottom of the chain.
Yeah. I said surrender. Because I care about the man sat next to me, and I think sometimes we get a little bit bureaucratic and stressed over here at Tripology HQ, and I thought it would be nice because we never book tours.
No,
we organise everything all the time for ourselves.
I feel like my inner self was talking to your inner self, and they were looking at each other going, this is wrong, though.
Yeah.
We know this is wrong.
Yeah.
And then my outer self was going, yeah, but should we just let it slide? Should we just see what happens? And then what we thought would be plausible off the back of getting this boat was so ridiculous. Like, we even thought maybe the private boat is going to meet us at the first destination after breakfast and collect us or whatever. It was definitely wrong, wasn't it? We knew it was wrong as soon as we set off.
Yeah. Well, we resigned anyway to you calling our contact
From the water.
and he immediately was like, oh, crikey, I've effed up here.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong boat, essentially. But the boat had already set sail.
It had.
So now the private tour is out the window. There was talk, there was speculation about trying to send a platoon of ships to meet us at a watchtower somewhere, but that would have meant us leaving the government tour to go on an illegal tour with an armed guard and it's like sneaking off. It was absurd, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, can we just take a moment to imagine how crazy that interaction would have been? Because we had a guide on the boat. We had about 50 other people, some of them families, who were also on the boat. We were the only 2 white people on the boat. So naturally, attracting attention, nodding at people, shaking their hands, having photos with them at the different stops. We went to no less than 3 different stops on that tour. If we had tried to snide off halfway through the day. And then what would the guide have said? Oh, yeah, no. Oh, you're getting picked up by that tiny little trawler boat that's just going to take you into the core zone, are you? That's fine.
Yeah, that's what A pitched us as a plan. He just like said, but yeah, it was really absurd, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was never going to be the case. I mean, the fact that there are tigers or local tribes people as well that sort of police those areas, those waters, it just wasn't going to be what happened to our day, unfortunately.
So we just kind of had to resign ourselves to
just a tour,
the government tour.
Yeah. Having said that, great day out.
Yeah.
Was it?
I mean,
was it in hindsight? No.
Yeah.
Did you not have a good day?
Well, I had a nice day with you on a boat.
Yeah. Maybe we can sort of paint a picture here. You're going down lots of waterways. Beautiful sunny day. Wasn't raining hardly.
Biggest mangrove forest in the world.
Yeah. I did say at the end of the day, once you've seen one mangrove,
yeah,
you've seen them all.
You said to me something which has stuck with me ever since. It was like, we could have just been on a mangrove treadmill. Like, we could have just been seeing the same mangroves over and over again. I mean, it essentially was a boat trip, a sunburn, a mangrove, and like the anticipation of potentially seeing some orange stripes through the bracken.
Yeah, we did have some good food on the boat. Well, I mean, you've probably just given it away to the listener. We didn't even come close to seeing a tiger, did we?
That's the thing about tiger spotting, is you don't know how close you've come.
Really? You think we could have?
Maybe we were 200 meters away from a tiger.
No, but I mean, there wasn't even like a stir from anyone on the boat, was there?
No, the most stir there was when, from one of the watchtowers, someone insisted that they'd seen a leopard, to absolute rapturous kind of gasps from the audience, who rushed over and informed that no, it was probably a crisp packet or maybe a monkey.
Yeah, there was a crowd of about 8, 9, 10, then 15. All oh my God, what is it? I think it's a leopard. I'm pretty sure it's a leopard. And then the guide said there aren't any leopards here, so it's probably not a leopard.
Yeah.
Might be a monkey, probably a crisp packet.
Yeah, and perhaps a small boy holding up a picture of a leopard, but definitely not the real article.
Well, I think overall I had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
I feel like the last half of the day we were sort of getting our arguments ready to give both barrels when we returned.
Yeah, and maybe to give the audience some perspective here, because they've only ever known us as a two.
Yeah.
You know? Adam and Alun.
Yeah.
We have sort of different communication styles. I think we're quite good in an argument with other people.
What, me and you together?
Yeah.
As a team, as a duo?
I think so, because you're quite like sweet, patient, bureaucratic, kind of kill 'em with kindness, honey catches more flies.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm that as well. But I'm a bit more of, what would you say? I don't know, because I'm not either intensely calm and logical, or I get a little bit like, don't push me around here.
Yeah, I think what tips the scales for you is when someone's done something immoral and unethical. Or disrespectful. That is when you blow your lid. Or if someone stamps on a caterpillar.
Yeah, I did get upset at something on a caterpillar, didn't I? And what did I say? I said something funny when they stamped on the caterpillar.
Yeah. Just make sure.
Why don't you stamp on some more caterpillars? Why don't we just spend the whole day stamping on caterpillars, guys? So really, what happened was that all these little mistakes went to mean the chain was shattered.
Mm-hmm.
The tour itself was just simply not what we paid for.
No, it really wasn't.
It turned out that A stood for arsehole. so by the time we met up with him back on the train, we said, look, what are you going to do for us now? Because it wasn't a private boat. We paid for a private boat. Yeah. It wasn't a sunset tour. We had to organise that ourselves. Yeah. And the chain and the surrender and the relaxing little holiday we were supposed to take just simply didn't materialise.
He was backpedaling so fast, wasn't he? And what made it even more stark was that on the way down, he would not shut up. He was so talkative. And then on the train back, he wouldn't say anything,
would he?
He
sort of stared out of the window pensively. He's a man who self-professes to smoke 70 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
And he sort of just stared out of the window, jaded, with the ghost of a cigarette in his left hand, twiddling his thumbs. I want to say now, maybe we sound a little bit spoiled, but I don't think that's the case, because if you pay for a service, we scrimp and save and live just by the skin of our teeth as backpackers all the time, slumming it. And this was a little holiday for us. It was a little treat.
Well,
and you can't just take advantage of people just on accounts of they're foreign or they don't understand things, or on account of the fact that you're a swindling arse.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very different, isn't it? Sometimes we feel like we're fighting the good fight, and we have been treated in a certain way over the time that we've been together that we really don't want other travellers and other backpackers to experience.
Totally.
So, we're not trying to necessarily change the world, but I do think there is a massive difference between having to pay a higher price because you're foreign and then booking something that is not the product that you receive, paying full price and just getting something completely different, and then them just washing their hands of it. I don't think that's acceptable. So I think we dealt with it in the right way. We definitely should have said something, because there are people out there that wouldn't have said anything, and that is worrying, I think.
Totally.
They just take it on the chin and go, oh, well, maybe there was a miscommunication. No, if you pay for something, you deserve to receive it.
I think you're better at saying something than me, actually. I think you're really good at just calling attention to the problem.
Right.
And then I get in and get all heated about it. But basically, A told us he would give us a third back, right?
Yeah.
Was that the deal?
Well, the wording, actually, even though we thought he had his own private company, remember, he said, I'll speak to the authorities and see if I can get you a partial refund.
What was he talking about? Yeah, suddenly, despite it being his company, I'm the head of the chain, you guys, as soon as there was mention of a refund of any kind, he had like a litany of higher-ups that he had to accord with.
Yeah, so it was very strange. We went to bed that night. It got quite late.
On the promise that we would be refunded in the morning because we had a flight early the next day.
Yeah, as you know, to Dubai. But it was a little bit touch and go in the morning, wasn't it? We probably had about an hour to play with. A turned up at the hostel. There were the guys at the hostel as well that were there, and it got a bit heated, mate, didn't it?
Well, A said, I'm working on the refund.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah.
It was time for us to leave an hour later. No sign of A at all.
I know.
A had vanished. And it's time for us to go now. No refund, no A. The person at the hostel rang A, and A was like, not really going to be able to do the refund.
Yeah, I spoke to him. I spoke to him on the phone. He said they haven't approved the refund. You're not getting any money back. He said, the best I can do is pay for you to have a stay at the hostel for one night.
Yeah, which is like worth maybe $1.
Yeah.
So this is where I sort of hit the fan a little bit, because I was like, we've got to go. And you promised us some money back. And now you're like deliberately just rinsing your hands of the situation, because he knew we had to leave the country and that was happening.
Yeah.
So I basically said, you've got 60 seconds to figure this out, at which point the manager of the hostel said, I don't know anything about this.
It was crazy.
Washed his hands of the whole affair, said, you've not been dealing with A, have you? He's a known scammer.
Yeah,
kicked him out of the hostel.
Yeah, we banned him from the hostel ages ago. So that kind of left us in no man's land, really, didn't it? It was a little bit worrying, because I did think, it's not like we're not going to be able to survive without that money, of course, but we just kind of wanted to do what was right for us, I guess.
I just wanted justice at that point, for it to never happen to any other travellers. So at that point, the hostel manager says that. We turned straight to the member of staff that had like taken the money from us and contacted A on our behalf.
Yeah.
And he's looking like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, he was actually quite a sweet guy to us, wasn't he?
I liked him.
Yeah, the
charismatic.
Whole time. Yeah, a really sweet guy. But he got a bit of a dressing down from his boss, and then ended up having to give us the money out of his like own wallet, I think it was at one stage, wasn't it?
That was certainly the performance that was given.
Yeah.
Now, tell me this, because, we did get upset and we said we need this solved right now. And then in sort of a panic, that's what happened. But surely, this is the story that was spun. A used to sell tours for the hostel.
Yeah.
He kept on scamming people. The hostel manager kicked him out.
Yeah.
And then another member of the staff invited him back in and was doing like a little hustle on the side that the manager had no knowledge of. And then on accounts of the fact we wanted a refund, that member of staff had to pay our money back out of his own pocket using the money that we gave him.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem realistic.
I mean, even the hostel manager did say to me that was likely what had happened. that the hostel staff that were working under him were earning commission effectively for getting a business.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily feel bad. I think that we got the tour that we got for a good price in the end. It was a little bit stressful. It wasn't what we ordered, but...
And got the money back that we deserved.
Yeah.
In the right way as well. You know, we didn't have to get too aggressive or make any threats. Like we didn't like say, oh, we're going to leave you a bad review or anything like that. We just said, look, you guys have got 60 seconds to sort this out. You need to sort it out. It's not fair.
It's important that it's right. So, here's a question for you. Do you think if we'd seen tigers, we would have asked for the refund?
It's interesting because, like, would then the elation of the tour gone well delete the negatives? But ultimately, he made such a series of promises that he had no intention of fulfilling. And other travellers who are less experienced, they can fall prey to that sort of stuff, and it can really ruin their trip. If we had 5 days in India and we were on holiday and this was something we really wanted to do and we were really excited about going to the core zones together and like having that experience, and he just deprived us of that with his lies. I mean, I don't want that to happen to any other travellers. But I'd like the audience to weigh in. tripologypodcast@gmail.com. Do you think we were right to ask and insist on a refund? Do you think A was like some sort of sociopath, or do you think he was just doing his sort of job in a shit way?
Maybe you've even been scammed by something similar. Or send us an email if you've seen a tiger and tell us where Alan could see one as well.
Yeah, I'm desperate. Next year, 2025, is going to be just devoted to tiger spottings if I don't get them done before then. So, yeah, send us an email, tripologypodcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Instagram @tripologypodcast.
And then over to patreon.com/tripologypodcast for the Lost and Found section.
Yeah, the Lost and Found section, a section that we do after the podcast. And for as little as $1, you can go to patreon.com and listen to that every single week. It's extra Tripology content.
How you feeling in these garments, Al?
I just can't wait for next week where we're going to tell the audience all about Pakistan, Islamabad, how we came to be in these shalwar kameez. I'm looking forward to it, Adam. Should we go there now?
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Let's head there right now.
I'll see you there. Bye.